Hi, everybody, and welcome to the DABBLEDOO podcast. Every month, we will be talking about different themes and giving teachers different tips to use in the classroom. We hope you enjoy the show. Well, welcome back to the DABBLEDOO podcast.
Hello.
I'm Máirin. I am the art lead.
And I'm Shane. I do the music.
And today we're talking about warm-ups and movement. And all that good stuff.
Yeah, kind of warm-ups, and I suppose warm-ups suggest they're at the start of something activity we're going to do, and then there's kind of more movement break things that would suggest they're kind of in between other things that you're doing that can be used at any point, but they kind of cross over a little bit as well.
They do a good bit because you can use a lot of warm-ups as movement breaks or brain breaks as well. So kind of a movement or brain break during the school day was a great way to kind of break up the different lessons and the different days, and just, you know, if they've been sitting there doing maths for an hour, get them up, moving around a bit, back down, settled, and then, right, we're getting into whatever it is you're doing next. But I think when it comes to warm-ups, they're particularly important for the arts, and like PE, anything where you're going to be moving. But I think it's kind of it's more obvious with the likes of PE or even maybe singing in particular with music, where a lot of people are like, yeah, you have to warm up. You can't just jump in and start playing basketball without preparing your body first. And
there's more risk of injury in PE as well.
Yeah.
Than there is in art, or but you could do damage to your voice if you don't if you're doing something with some serious singing. So none of the serious singers would ever sing full belt without it. You know, if you were like a professional musician going on tour, you'd never go on stage and just start singing because your voice wouldn't last many gigs.
Yeah. And I mean, it'd be the same with like your body or your instrument. You wouldn't walk out without tuning your guitar and making sure
so there's that part, but there's also like maybe more with the visual arts, that it's just a good way of getting yourself in the mindset and in the mode of creating what you're gonna, or whatever project you're gonna undertake.
100%. And I think it's something that's not really it doesn't come immediately to a lot of people and teachers, is that for art you do need to warm up, because it'd be very hard if someone turned around to you and said, right, I want you to make a drawing of this, and you're kind of going, ooh, okay. But if you can kind of give them 5-10 minutes to just sketch or do something, get them in that mindset, get their bodies warmed up and ready, it's a great way to kind of settle them into the lesson and kind of help their brains make that switch from whatever they were doing before to, okay, now we're thinking outside the box, we're thinking creatively. And arguably the same for drama. You're setting the atmosphere that you're moving from. If you're moving from even lunchtime, you're moving from more like, or maybe not so much lunchtime, it's like English, you're moving from a very structured formal lesson and you're going into something a bit more playful, a bit more loose and open-ended, informal. So I think it's important to help them make that transition between what they were doing into whatever arts they're engaging with.
And I think some kids would need it more than others as well, which is another great reason to do it, and just make some children will be able to just switch from one to the other, but some people can switch from one job to another job, but some other people need time to go, okay, let's wind down from that, like you say, whatever you're doing, and get ready for the next one. So that, I think that's as adults in our jobs, it's sometimes hard to leave one. You know, you're working on your mortgage application, and then the next thing you're doing whatever. Carpentry.
It's a very grown up.
That was my weekend.
Yeah, because I think even now, if I was to jump into an art piece without warming up or sketching something, I'd be halfway through and go, do you know, I've just had a better idea, which has happened to me almost every single time I've done art in the classroom. Without warming them up, they'll be halfway through a painting and someone at 2:20 and you're just about to clean up, I've had a different idea, can I start again?
Yeah.
Like, no.
So would you do warm-ups? Would you kind of do a specific warm-up that was related to the task you're going to do, or do you kind of pick and mix, as in, is there kind of warm-ups that are just general easing into something different, or would some of them kind of be leading into a certain way of doing it? Like if you're doing a painting, like watercolors or whatever, would you lead into something that's specific, or sometimes is it just a general warm-up enough?
I think it's kind of a mix of both, certainly in the art program for DABBLEDOO, where if I know they're going to be working on a specific skill in a lesson, I'll tailor the warm up to it.
Mm-hmm.
Or particularly for like if they're going to be doing something really abstract, then the warm up can be quite loose and open ended. A great one is listen and draw, and you just stick on a piece of music and just let them do whatever. They can illustrate what they think it means. They can just do random lines and squiggles
Mm-hmm.
to the beat, so long as they're just moving and creating something. It's a great way. Like these outside the box thinking ones are great for if
Mm-hmm.
you're trying to get them to do something a bit more abstract. So we have one called Finish the Drawing. So you're given half a shape and you tell them, okay, finish the drawing. It can be anything except for, say, a circle, and you give them a semicircle.
Mm.
And then they really have to start thinking, oh, well, okay, it could be like a turtle shell, or it could be a lot of different things. It could be the start of a car.
Yeah.
And that's a good way to kind of get them thinking a bit
Yeah,
more
that's a great example. Yeah.
abstract.
Yeah, because you're getting them thinking in a different way. There's no right or wrong answer to this. We're going into a different subject now, where it's up to you to decide what's right and wrong, and what's.
And
Yeah.
I think that's the important thing that they need to remember with art, is that there is no right or wrong. It's just making art. Like
That's interesting, because you could just have come from a maths or history or whatever, where there's a question you've been asked and then the answer is at the back of the book, and there's a correct answer. And like you say, if you move sometimes too quickly into art, there could be a bit of cognitive dissonance there with some children who are going, okay, well, we've been asked to draw this, and worried that am I going to get this right or am I going to get it wrong, as opposed to just thinking creatively and getting into the lesson that way.
yeah, 100%. And I think that mind shift change is great. And I think for the more self-conscious kids as well, if you have like a sillier, not a sillier, but a more lighthearted warm-up, it kind of helps with their nerves, because kids will always compare themselves. Oh, but I'm not as good as drawing as this person. But if your warm-up is, you're scribbling, then
Yeah. Everyone scribbles. the same.
everyone scribbles.
So
the
it's
same.
not do a sketch of a horse, a lifelike. I tried to draw a horse at the weekend. Very hard.
I still can't draw horses.
Impossible. Well, I did it from looking at a picture of a horse and just drawing it. But even then, if one of the legs isn't quite the right length, the whole thing looks ridiculous. It's a really tricky thing. I don't know what it is, because they're huge, big animals, but their legs are very
Very
thin when you look at them. Yeah, and if you get that wrong, it's.
I always end up with like a really big buff horse with like the tiniest stick legs. They just look a little bit.
Well, they're like Disney
Out of
used to have
balance.
lovely cartoons back in the old days where they had like caricature horses that were very like that, tiny spindly legs and huge, big, bulky bodies. So don't do sketches of horses as warm up. That's too that's too one sided to kids who are really good at drawing. Yeah.
I think if you're doing any sort of sketching or drawing based warm up, have a condition in there that means that it's not going to look perfect. So one will be a one line drawing. You're not allowed to lift your pencil off the page. So that's going to always look a bit odd. Or I think one of the only ones that is pure drawing is a 10-second drawing. So no one's going to be able to draw a perfect horse in 10 seconds. You're going to go like, oh, there's a head, there's the neck, done. And even like getting them warming up in pairs is another thing we do in art a bit.
Yeah.
One of my favorite ones is don't look. So they have the page, they have to look at someone and draw them without looking at the pen. And it is just kind of funny and lighthearted. The kids are less likely to be insulted by a portrait of themselves if one of the eyes is on one side of the page and the nose is down here, because they knew the artist couldn't see where they're looking.
Yeah. I thought you were going to talk about, the one where you can fold a page in half. Well, you can do it different ways, but you could fold it in three or fold it in half, and one person draws the top of a person and one person draws the bottom, and that's good fun. And would you do the warm ups yourself as well when you're in the classroom, or would you be?
Yeah.
Because that's always nice for the kids to see as well. You joining in with the fun.
Yeah, and it helps them kind of see as well, like, particularly that my 10-second drawings are never good, and it gets a bit of a laugh out of them going, okay, well, if the art teacher can't draw a horse in 10 seconds and I can't draw one, that's fine.
Because I think, do you remember, you're too young to have watched The Den?
I
remember The Den?
Yeah.
But what was the art guy's name? Well, Ray Darcy was the presenter. What was the art guy's name? What was his name? I can see his face. But he was the art guy that used to come on every week, and Ray, like, he used to do things that you could draw at home as well. But Ray Darcy always kind of messed it up. Yeah, he always gave it a go, but he always messed it up, which was one of the most fun parts of it as a kid, watching an adult mess it all up, So that I'd imagine that's nice for the kids to see you do those kind of fun little warm-ups and exercises as well.
Yeah, and it can kind of, I think in any subject we're always told if the teacher gets involved, particularly with the likes of drama, music, even PE, sometimes it's a great motivator if it's like, oh, teacher's on the other team.
But especially at the start of a lesson as a warm-up, it's great
Yeah.
because I suppose once you get into the lesson itself, you're probably going to be doing more walking around, talking to them in individual or in groups and seeing how they're
Filling
getting
up
on.
paint pots.
Yeah. So I suppose, and same in music. If you once you get into the lesson itself, you're more kind of, your brain is more switched into assessment mode and figuring out if they're all getting on okay, and figuring out if they're what different parts and different kids in the class, how they're getting on. So maybe the warm up is always a good chance to show that you're joining in with it as well at the start.
Yeah, and
I kind of set that kind of, like you're saying, like in the drama, set that atmosphere that this is what we're doing for the next half an hour.
Yeah, I think as well, like I always would have joined in with the music warm-ups because, like, particularly vocal warm-ups, you'll have some kids and they're not doing it properly, they're just kind of hiding. But if you're there singing along with them, if you're singing a little bit louder, like, go on, you can sing a bit louder, I'll
And did you, because you were using DABBLEDOO when you were teaching, were you using our warm-ups? I was going to ask you what warm-ups you were using, but you're using ours. Was there other ones you used before that, or were ours just the best by a mile?
I think I always used DABBLEDOO ones when I was kind of in mainstream class teaching. And then before that it was all COVID where we weren't allowed to sing. So it was but I do remember the ones I would have used in choirs and all growing up, but they're very similar kind of.
Yeah, they're all quite similar, but it's nice to have the collection of them there as well.
Yeah, and to have
you can just stick the video on.
Yeah, stick the video on and sing along to it.
Because they're quite that's why like I'd advise it's all teachers to search. Well, you can use the DABBLEDOO ones, but there's other ones online that you can find of warm-ups and just have them readily available, have them just in a tab ready to go if you're ever doing a song, and get them to warm up. Because it's actually quite a hard thing to lead a warm-up.
Yeah.
Like, unless you're an experienced music teacher who's done it for years, it's still kind of a tricky thing sometimes with especially with 25 kids. So it is a very helpful thing having a video there that you can follow and join in with them, as opposed to because otherwise you're performing, you're the conductor, you're assessing them all the time as well. It's quite a tricky thing to do. So I would advise, unless you're really confident in doing them, and over time you develop the confidence to do them yourselves. If you do these, even the ones we have, if you do them a number of times and you're doing them every time you're singing, you get used to them, and you could eventually do them yourself, which is kind of what would like all teachers to do, to do these warm-ups enough times that you can do it yourself. But it is great to have the videos there and to have them
100%. I like the body warm-ups as well for me.
Oh yeah, for the whole body, yeah.
Because like even kind of growing up in choirs, it was like, right, piano comes out, and copy that. But you're never really, I think I had one choir teacher who always got us to do a bit of breathing exercises beforehand, but getting them to have a physical movement as well, kind of to help them, like even the idea that they're going from sitting to standing is huge. It's a huge change in mindset for them. And I think it's really, really good. And it's coming back to this idea of movement and trying to build in movement during the day, I think is really important. I know it's certainly something Jo's thought a lot about in drama, where she's included a lot of very kind of movement-based warm-ups or movement-based kind of activities you can do throughout the day. Like even stuff like yoga and a bit of stretching. Like we always used to start our day in the classroom with a bit of a stretch, shake your left hand 5 times, shake your right hand 5 times. And I think it's a great way to kind of break up that day, because anyone finds it hard to sit still for 6 hours or however long they're sitting down.
Yeah. So. And I think the same as you were saying earlier about people might not think you presume you wouldn't be doing a warm-up before an art lesson, whereas you should. And they might presume the same thing about like a music or a singing lesson, where they presume, you don't have to warm up physically if you're going to sing.
Yeah, you're just going to sing.
You're just going to sing.
Yeah.
So that's another important thing. Like I say, those videos that Julie's done for us, who's Julie Shanley, she's an expert in children's choirs in particular, and singing. So there's videos of her showing you how to stretch, breathe, start making sounds, start getting your vocal cords moving before you start, like you said, before the piano comes out and you start doing the vocal warm-ups.
Yeah.
So we've divided into full body warm-ups and vocal warm-ups. And that's great. That's a great pattern to get used to for the children as well, for any singing lessons, and to have that regular thing. There was a story I was thinking of there of, who was it? Was it Tom York? I think was on. It was either Desert Island Discs or one of those things. So Tom York from Radiohead, who was an incredible singer, and he was doing a project with Bjork at one stage, and he was he was telling the interviewer that he was round at Bjork's house, so he stayed with her while he was doing the recording, and that he woke up at 7 o'clock in the morning to hear her warming up and doing her vocal exercises next door. And he thought at the time, "Oh, that's how you get to be a singer as good as Bjork." She's up every morning at 7 o'clock doing vocal exercise and singing, and because she's maybe in her, I don't know, is she in her 60s now or whatever, but her voice still sounds as incredible as when she was in her 20s. It's amazing, her voice, and it's a really powerful, big voice as well. But yeah, like that's for professional musicians, if they're doing that they need to be practicing and warming up all the time. So it's great to have that in the classroom as well. But it'll make the performance more fun and enjoyable and sound better as well.
Yeah.
If they do their vocal warm-ups and everyone stretches out, breathes, does the vocal warm-ups. And it's also, like you're saying, getting you into the mindset of what you're about to do as well. Like if you're doing these, the vocal warm-ups are often like going up and down scales and kind of helping you pitching notes. And it's also helping everyone listen to each other because they're very simple and they've done it again and again. So it's that repetition of doing it with each other, being able to sing and listen to each other. And then when you go and do the song, you're kind of primed to be in that mindset.
You know what to expect as well. And I think having like that, I know in my class in particular, having the 2 set warm-ups each time was really great for the kids who needed to know what was happening next. So they knew if I said, "Oh, we're doing a bit of singing today," they're like, "Oh, we'll watch that video and we'll do that. We'll do this bit, we'll do this warm-up, and then we'll do the bit where we sing up the scale." And for those kids, that's hugely important because if you were to just say, "Right, we're singing a song today," they'll go, "Oh, what song are we singing? Is it high? Is it low? Am I going to be able to sing it? Is it fast?" And just kind of settling them in with the warm-up, and then it kind of helps them ease in. And it's the same with art. It's like, you know, you're settling in, doing a warm-up, they can see you preparing paint in the background. So, okay, we're doing painting today, and I'm drawing my emoji mix-up, and I know how this works. I've done this a few times now, and it's, yeah, I think for those kids, it's really important to have that. And I think as well for kids who need that bit of movement during the day, that's where movement breaks are so handy, because like, I know there were certainly days where I was like, right, I need to actually have a bit of a dance at the moment because I'm low energy, my coffee hasn't kicked in, and I've been teaching fractions for the past hour, so I just want to get up and move around. Where I found dancing was the most popular movement break by far.
What was the song, or was it different songs for different classes?
The most popular song in my class was Rasputin by Boney M.
Great tune.
They absolutely loved it, and because there was a video of the video game Just Dance, they're all available on YouTube, and it's a very complex dance. There's a huge amount of movement. They absolutely loved just trying it, and they just all got stuck into it. And
then you put the video up of the thing,
and they followed along. Like there's a move in it where he's kind of I would have said he was pretending to play the violin, but one day I heard all the girls in the class going, buttering toast, and it was great crack. And then we do that one, and then we'd do it like a more settled. Okay, let's do some belly breathing, and then we're back in.
Great. Who did that song again?
Boney M.
Boney M, yeah. I we supported them in Sligo once at the festival band, yeah. Boney M.
Did they play Rasputin?
They did, of course. They were amazing, yeah. God, it was great. In Sligo years ago in an outdoor gig there, yeah. It was great fun.
A lot of the boys in my class as well loved the Shakira one from the World Cup in 2010.
Oh, yeah.
It's Time for Africa.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely loved that as well. But even there was days where I was like, right, we're not doing a 4-minute Just Dance. We've only got 2 minutes. Let's just stick a 2-minute song on and just do whatever. Shake your body. And they loved them as well.
Yeah. No, they're great. And as we said earlier on, this time of year as well, it's great to warm up a bit as well in the classroom. You could be freezing cold coming in after break, whatever it is. What
I find as well is the wet breaks are normally very hard for them. Yeah. You know, it's too rainy outside. You can't go out to the yard.
Yeah. I remember that even myself, thinking back as a kid, you hated that, yeah.
So I used to kind of try and split my room where I know, say, half of them will be off playing chess. My class were obsessed with chess. Oh. Some of them go off and play chess.
Where did they get the chess from? Did you?
I
Do you
just
push that or no?
I didn't
Someone in
push
school?
it. No, I had a chessboard in there one day, and they all just decided, right, I'm going to learn how to play this game.
And did you have to show them, or did they show each
One
other?
or two of them knew it and
What
showed
class
off.
was this?
Third class.
That's tricky.
But the school did set up a chess club then, and they all, like, we had a huge sign up for my class going
Great. Yeah.
in. But then for some of them, when I came back, I was like, right, we're going to spend 10 minutes. I'm going to stick on a yoga video. We're going to just stretch because you just need to move. And they were great for wet break days. Just having all of those little 2-3 minute movement breaks in your back pocket that you can just go, right, we're going to do some stretches, or we're going to do this, or we're going to have a little
Or even
dance.
there could be songs like I always say in the music program, the repetition of songs that they know. If they like a song that's sung before, especially if it's like a movement song, like for the younger classes, head, shoulders, knees, and toes type of song. But we have like Che Che Kule, which is a song from Ghana, which is a version of head, shoulders, knees, and toes, which we do for. There's a version we have for infants and a version for older kids. That they love, that Che Che Kule song. So you could be doing Che Che Kule every day because it's something you can do in the classroom. Those call and response where you can lead it as the teacher. What was the other? Jambo is another one. Jambo, 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 Sana, Jambo, Jambo, Sana, Jambo. Those type of simple call and response ones are great that you could just do as a little break as well. You don't need instruments. You don't need backing tracks. You can just go back and forth with the class.
I do remember subbing in a class where they tried really hard to convince me, and then when I checked with the other teacher, they're like, yeah, that's true. They did the cha-cha slide every time there was a dance, like a wet break.
Very good. Yeah.
So we just stuck on the cha-cha slide and off we went. So, but yeah, like that, I think what's great about the different warm-ups available to you, like even like in our program or even through Googling, can also double as every single one of the art warm-ups, for example, can double as a brain break or double as a morning activity. A lot of the movement-based breaks in drama can double as a movement break or as a warm-up or as even warm-up games for PE. I know Joe does a lot of Bean Stew, which was one of my favourite warm-up games to play with infants because they loved it. To the point where we'd come out to do PE and like, can we do Bean Stew? Like they knew straight away, I want to do this one. And so like, ground, off you go. And then even with music, having like that, a few call and response songs in just to break up the day a little bit.
Yeah. And it means, because it's a nice way to get singing a song, like because doing a movement break or a kind of brain break with instruments is kind of tricky because it's a bit involved. You've got to pass out instruments and get them back. So something they can do with that, like a call and response or like some kind of body percussion type of things. If you've done a body percussion song, we've one Little Liza Jane where they do body percussion along, or clapping games or things like that. That's all good. Getting out the instruments is a bit involved, but the call and response, and it's kind of different from everyone just singing the song at the same time. That one is nice if you have backing tracks and if you have instruments sometimes as well, but the call and response kind of is a whole, just it's a whole entertainment back and forth, and it's just a fun thing to do. And I think that other thing you said about the warm-up before each lesson, just to get the children lined up for it, the children who might not like being surprised or might be anxious was the word I was thinking of. There's a lot of anxiety with children these days, and if you say we're going to do some art piece, they could be going, I can't, they could be getting these things in your head, worried about what I'm going to do, or even if you're doing a music lesson, go, oh no, I hope I don't have to sing or I don't have to play an instrument, whatever. So
I don't know the words, I don't know how to sing it.
Yeah. What's the song going to be? So yeah, those kind of regular warm-ups are amazing for all those.
Yeah.
And it's like that we keep talking about these informal ways of practicing the arts.
Yeah.
As it doesn't have to be this big structure. We're going to sit down and do this piece now. It could be these fun little breaks, and it's all practice at rhythm and practice at singing and practice at playing, body percussion, or practice at their technique with a pencil, like as in, they're never going to be great at sketching unless they can mess around and do some squiggles first. Yeah.
No, 100%. I had an art teacher who, when she was teaching us how to do life drawing for secondary school, the very first time we did it, she's like, right, you have 2 minutes. And we were all like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And then by the time we heard that our actual exam was an hour and a half, we were like, oh, this is grand. I've had to do one of these in 2 minutes. So definitely does help kind of build their confidence a little bit then. And it's fun as well. Like the warm ups, the games, the movement breaks, they're all a good bit of fun.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, it's a lot of the feedback we get in lessons. A lot of the positive feedback is this was fun. Fun is the word that keeps coming back.
Yeah, well, it's another reason why the arts are great subjects for doing these movement breaks, because they're subjects that are enjoyable subjects.
Yeah.
It's nice to use them. And also you can be kind of adding up, you can be doing little bits and pieces that add up to more arts every week if you're doing these movement breaks here and there. Great, so I think that's it for
I think that's
this month. I don't know what we'll be talking about next month, but it'll be something interesting again.
Yeah.
We should have Joe back with us to talk about more drama as well. So thanks again for listening. This is myself and Máirin saying goodbye from DABBLEDOO.
Slán live.
Bye.